All right, so welcome everybody to the quant data Q&A. I know we're starting a little bit late, got some tech issues. Wanted to turn on my camera, but I don't know, things weren't working out. But yeah, welcome everyone to quant data Q&A. We run these every Wednesdays and Sundays for you guys to ask questions and learn together, right? That's the beauty of retail trading. We also like to go through a little bit of some info sessions. Now, we've gone through like a few things now, talking about spreads, talking about some of the things we like to trade. I think this is gonna be the last part of it for this series, anyways. And this is a very short one. We're just talking about debit or credit spreads, and yeah, it's gonna be the last one before we move on to another topic. But I think it's gonna be a good one because I think we always talk about how we like to let the market pay us first before we pay the market. Now, when we finally decide to pay for things in the market, we want to make sure that we are doing it correctly. We're doing it at an opportune moment, right? And we're doing it in a way that's more probabilistic, right? That's the main thing we want to get across, right? When we're trading, if we're trading in an unprobabilistic manner, does it make sense? Right? Are we just throwing money into the market for no reason? Sometimes we do that, right? Sometimes we do that. So if you didn't go through the first 3 chapters, by all means, it is on my YouTube channel. I think I've done a pretty good job. But this one, again, is very short. You can see I only have 5 slides, and there's a reason for that. The reason for that, of course, is that I originally thought there was a lot more information to debits and credits, but there isn't. But I guess I will spend some time to showcase it at the very least on, well, our brokerage, right? We're going to drop some trades. I'm going to see. Okay. So, debit, chapter 4, debit or credit spread. Right now we know what a credit spread is. Credit is when we receive credit from the market, right, for the risk that we're about to take. So usually, like a put credit spread, we're selling and buying something that's both out of the money. For debit spread, a little bit different. So it all depends on IV, what the state of IV is, implied volatility, and our bias has a little bit of feelings towards it. And the reason is because the risk to reward is just a little bit greater. So credit spread. What's a credit spread? Right? We've talked about this before. Right? Oh, I spelled ceiling wrong. That's all right. Credit spread. Credit spread is a position that we take when we believe price is likely going to remain neutral, but can still go in the direction of our favor. The thing is, when we receive credit, it's usually a lot less. Right? We are taking on an upside down RR. Right? Some of the positions that we took today. Right, when we sold a credit spread today, 64.35 short leg. When we did it a 5 wide, we only received 1.2 credit. Right, I think that was like the max when we doubled down on it. That's not a lot of credit because we had a 5 wide leg. Right, so you know that for every $1, wide the risk. You are putting up $100 of capital, right? Everyone understand that so far? So when we sold today's 64.35p with the 64.30p, we put up $500 of margin requirement, right? Our max loss is around 500 minus the amount that we received in credit. Right, so if we take a look really quickly here, if we were to, let's go into tomorrow, right? So August 14th, and we start putting on a vertical spread. You can see right here, if we put on $1, so let's say we're selling at 64.50 and we're buying at 64.45, right? It's upside down RR, right? You guys see that? Your maximum profit is only $110. Your max loss though is $390. Now if we were to stretch this, right, let's do a 10 wide. Right now your max loss is $790, but you receive $210 because you're receiving the credit in between these two strikes. Right, that's the credit spread. every dollar we risk, we widen, we increase our max loss, but we also increase a little bit of that max profit. So you have to find the sweet spot for the position that you're about to take. And we're going to dig into this a little bit as well. So again, credit spreads are generally negative in RR, but they provide us with much more security because the multi-directional trade, you can see right here, based on this, so long as price stays above 64.47, you're break even. So long as price stays above 64.50, right, and it expires, right, market can go up, it can go down, it can go sideways. So long as it doesn't come here, like, you're good. You're pretty much solid in the trade, and you can see that you're in profit generally right away. Can you see that right here? So even without direction, right, if you put on this trade, even if price immediately starts to come down a little bit, you're actually still in profit because you still receive that credit of 210. Right, thumbs up in the chat if you guys understand really quick. If you guys don't understand credit spreads, we'll send you a little bit of some other YouTube videos, I guess. So yeah, that's upside down. Generally, when we do credit spreads, right, we always refer to kind of like that cheat code, 30% of IV. When IV is generally higher, this is when we want to take advantage of more credit spreads, right? Because you're selling something that has elevated extrinsic value. A credit spread, we're mainly looking at OTMs, so out of the monies. You're buying an out of the money contract. You're also selling an out of the money contract. You can see both right here. Again, in this example, we're receiving this credit because we're selling and buying a position that's out of the money. And we know out of the money contracts all expire worthless. That's actually your goal for a credit spread. Okay? So that's credit. A debit, a little bit different, right? A debit spread consists of a position we take when we believe price is likely going to make a move in a direction. You have a strong bias in a move or a pivot. You have to pay for these positions. Now, when we talk about paying the market versus having the market pay you, this is when you have to pay the market, right? We pay for these positions, but we have a greater risk to reward ratio. We generally want to do this when IV is low, because when IV is low, it means everything's cheaper, right? When everything's expensive, we want to be the market. We want to be, oh, I want to sell you everything, guys. Everyone wants to buy from me. And when IV is low, we say, hey, we want to buy at these contracts today. Things generally move a little bit slower. Now, let's take a look at that really quick. Let's take a look at a position where we're debiting. So you guys saw that profile earlier, right? So I'll just bring it up one more time. You guys can see vertical spread. We'll do a 5 wide. We'll do this one really quick. The curve here. The curve here. Okay, so this is your curve, right? You can see again, this is a credit spread. I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to snip it into the chat. All right, this is what you're doing, right? So you can see again, price can go up, price can go down. As long as price stays above 64.48, you win this trade. Right now, we're going to go back. We're going to do a debit spread. So let's say you're a little bit bullish. Right now, you generally want to do this, something that's either at the money or out of the money. In this example, let's do something that's like in between. Right, so here's your equity curve now. Right, what do you guys see that's the difference? Right, so price is here, but you can see that you're spending 275. You have a max potential of 225. And you can see the curve is different. The curve starts immediately when you cross your break-even price. The equity curve, right now, we can stretch it a little bit. You can play around with these, right? And you can, let's say we go back a little bit. And there you go. It's a little bit more even, but you still, you know, that curve is. This is the most important part to look differently, is that you need a move basically right away. You need a move in your favor immediately, but you can see that the risk is different, right? Now, if we start changing the IVs right now for these two contracts are really tiny. we start moving it around, changes the profile a lot, and you can see that again you need price to go right away. Now I do have a rule of thumb even for this, but it's just a rule of thumb, and you guys know this rule of thumb from me because I talk about it so often on stream. It's this this one right here. This is straight from Tasty Trade, right? I'm not gonna take credit for it. I'm gonna take a picture of this and I'm gonna post it in the chat. Oh, sorry. Let me post this one as well so you guys have it. All right, this is just your example. You can kind of see, take a look at the differences right here, and you can take a look at difference of the equity curve right here. Okay. And so we're here, and that's your IV, right? So seller's profit when IV contracts, right? Because we know IV goes like this, right? It goes like this, blooms, right? We want to be a credit seller here. All throughout here, you want to be credit, okay? And during these areas, you want to debit. You want to pay. Okay? Now, rule of thumb, it's generally 30%. Right? So normally credit spreads are entirely out of the money. Right? We saw that we sold and bought something that's out of the money. Debit spreads are half-half. You buy it in the money and you sell it out of the money. That's how you get the greatest risk to reward for those debit spreads. And you need price to go in that direction, basically right from you when you start putting on that position. But you do also get a little bit of wiggle room. You just have to wait on time a little bit more. And these are the differences, right? You want to buy them when they're cheap. So IV 30%. So when IV is under 30% for the individual time series, that's kind of when you want to focus a little bit more on debit spreads. Now, IV has been under 30% for like the entirety of last week, and you saw that I still did a lot of credit spreads. And the reason is because of this, right? You still need to have this portion with you, your bias. So when I put on a credit spread, even though it's under 30%, I believe that price is likely going to remain neutral, but it can still go in our favor, right? So when we drop down today in price, right? Why did we sell 64.35? Who remembers why we sold 64.35? Here's your chart today. Right? We said that price is likely going to come down and meet yesterday's high, right? This was also gamma zero. So gamma zero, this is all part of the thinking, right? 64.35, we sold right here. 64.35, this was our short leg right here. Okay, that's like just below that high. And then our iron condor top was 64.75, right? Right at MVC. We literally sold the MVC. And we plugged it in around 7 a.m. from what I remember. 7:30, 7 a.m. We started loading the boat on the bottom side as we came down. Right? Because we put on a credit spread here because I knew that price wasn't likely going to go further than 64.45, it being gamma zero and it being yesterday's high. But I wasn't sure. Right? Who remembers that trade today? I wasn't sure if price was going to stop here, but I knew that price is probably going to stop. I thought that price was either going to stop here and go up or stop here and do nothing. Right? So if I put on a debit spread from 64.45 and price didn't go up, would I be cooked? Yes. The answer is yes, because I still need price to come up on a debit spread. But if I put on a credit spread, I can be someone that just waits for time. Now, we have to wait a lot longer because IV, not that high. But it's still the same thing, right? So when we believe price is likely going to remain neutral. A credit spread is one where you think price is neutral or it can still go in your favor. Again, price can go up, price can come down, price can go sideways so long as it doesn't mean our floor. A debit, if we put on this, we would need price to go up right away. We would have needed price to, from here, move up. So like if we put on a debit spread, ooh, is this continuous mode? No. I thought I could draw. I thought I could draw here. That's okay. Right, so if we put on a debit spread instead, we would need price to come up. Well, if we put on what we did put on originally down here, price can do anything it wants. It can do that. It doesn't matter. And that's it. That's our short little presentation. So that's the difference between debit spreads and credit spreads. Stick to these rules, the 30%. Stick to your biases, right? Again, this needs a strong move, whereas this one doesn't. But you just collect a lot less. You receive a lot less. And from here, I'm going to close this video so I can answer some questions for the Q&A. For those of you guys watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Make sure you like and subscribe if you can. And then next time we'll go over another topic. Thanks, y'all YouTube gang.